Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Taylor, and for today's video I'm going to be taking you through two separate readathon TBRs that are going to make up my July TBR. Now, both of these readathons are taking place the whole entire month of July. First readathon I'm taking place in is the book Junkie Trials, and I am on Team Bard. The second one is the Medievalathon, and for that one there's no teams, but just a series of challenges. I'm going to be leaving all the information for both readathons down below. For the book Junkie Trials, I'm going to leave the Twitter because I think that's the easiest link to check that out, and because there's so many hosts and challenges and different journeys depending on what team you are. And then for the Medievalathon, that is by Holly Hart's Books, so I will leave her announcement video down below so you can check that out if you want to see what either of those readathons are all about. All the information will be down below. Now, for the book Junkie Trials, it does depend on what team you are for what kind of prompts that you're going to be doing, and I'm on Team Bard, so my first challenge is the Elven Guard, and that is read a book with military or political themes. And for that one I am reading His Majesty's Dragon. I don't know a lot about this one. I'm trying to read a lot more fantasy, and not just fantasy but women written fantasy, because you know, I think if you just kind of sit down and start listing names, a lot of the big fantasy frontrunners are going to be men. I'm really trying to read more high fantasy by women, so I am going to be reading His Majesty's Dragon for that first prompt. I've heard it's about the Napoleonic Wars, so that would do with the military and political themes. Again, I don't know a lot about it. I saw a dragon on the cover. I love dragons and just looked really good. So gonna be picking that one up for the first challenge. The next challenge is On the Hollow Isle, and that is an atmospheric or horror book. And for that one, I picked Station 11, which fits into both of those categories depending on who you ask. It is about the end of the world, and it's very apocalyptic. I did get this recommendation on Books in the Freezer, and that's a horror book podcast. This one is not necessarily scary so much as atmospheric, and it definitely deals with kind of the trauma and the survivors and how they would deal, you know, a couple of years after a entire like extinction or apocalyptic event sweeps across the world. The next prompt is Empty Barrel Inn, and that is read an indulgent read, and for that one I am going with Martin the Warrior by Brian Jakes. I love the Redwall series. I think this is going to be something that I'm implementing in every single month of reading because these are such fun, fast, I mean, it looks kind of chunky, but it's middle grade, so they're just fun little reads, fun little fantasy reads about little woodland creatures. I read one this month and it did get me out of my reading slump, so I figured I'd pick this one up. This is also going to be, for one of the stipulations as a bard, one book must contain poetry or like musical themes. These books have a ton of different riddles and puzzles and songs and different like clues, stuff like that. So if you can see, just kind of on any page there's gonna be music and riddles and everything like that. So yeah, these are definitely indulgent reads for me. They're amazing middle grade books, and they're just a lot of fun if you like fantasy. So yeah, that's gonna be the indulgent read. The next prompt is Giant Squid, and that is read a book that intimidates you. That's gonna be Priory of the Orange Tree. I tried to read this book this month. I have had a lot of personal stuff going on this month, as well as I was in a reading slump before all the personal stuff started happening. So I started this one, I got like 50 pages in, and it's a chunker. It's very thick, and I just decided this would fit into multiple prompts for the readathons I'm doing in July, so I figured I'd go ahead, put it down, and pick it up in July. This is intimidating. This is like 800 pages, so that's definitely gonna be a giant squid whopper of a book. And then the last prompt is the Bookie Grail itself, and that is read the group book, and that is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I don't know much about this book. I'm gonna be really honest. I'm gonna go into it blind. We'll see how that works out for me. The only Neil Gaiman book that I have read is Coraline, and that's kind of a shame because I really loved that one, and I feel like I would really like his work in general if I ever picked one up. And I just always, like, I always forget to pick them up, if that makes sense at all. Like, I know I would like his books, and whenever I'm at the library or the bookstore stuff, I just, you know, he doesn't come into my mind as like an author to look into. So I am excited that I have to read another Neil Gaiman book because hopefully I'll figure out whether or not I like his work, and then continue on reading the rest of them, because I've read the premises of so many of his books. They sound interesting, and I think this is going to be a great jumping into point to really encourage me to maybe pick up more of his work. Also, I am looking down a lot. I apologize, but I have my bullet journal here, and that has my spread for both of the readathons, so that's what I'm going off of. I haven't memorized all of these prompts. That's why I'm checking in. Like, I know the books I'm gonna read, but just to make sure I get like the cute little prompts down with the correct books. So the next one is Medievalathon, and that again is by Holly Hart's Books, and the way this is set up is a little bit confusing to explain, and I think she does a really great job of it. There's a bunch of prompts, and you kind of have to collect like a set of armor essentially, and then each prompt is like a set in a set of armor, and you have to collect those, but it's a very low stakes readathon, and there's like a bunch of different statuses depending on how many books you read. So if you read 1 book for the prompts, you're a peasant, 2 books squire, 3 books knight, 4 books countess or count, 5 books princess or prince, and then 6 books queen or king. So I am trying to read 6 books so I can be the queen that I am. Yeah, so I didn't actually write down the suits of armor, like which parts of the suits of armor they were, but I do have the prompts, so I'm going to go into those. And the first one is a book where the character fights for the throne, and for that one, it's very ambitious of me. I'm gonna be reading Brissinger by Christopher Paolini. And this is ambitious because I have been reading Eldest for 3 months now. And the reason why it has been taking 3 months is that I have been trying to listen to the audiobooks this time around, and the audiobooks are, for the most part, good. I have some faults with how certain characters sound. Saphira is the biggest one. And I am listening to them like via Libby and Overdrive, and I keep running out of time on it and then keep having to return it. So I'll probably just have to go ahead and pick that up in the physical copy. Yeah, so very bold of me to be reading the 3rd book in the Inheritance trilogy without reading the 2nd book. As I film this, it's June 24th. I am going to be essentially MIA the last week of June because there's some family stuff going on, so I'm pre-filming. So hopefully I pick up, the Eldest was the 2nd one, so I'm gonna try and finish that in June, and then pick up Brissinger in July. And hopefully this one will go by a lot better. I'm gonna be honest, I think Eldest is my least favorite of them. I think it's been a while since I've read them, but I'm pretty sure Eldest was my least favorite. I'm just not really interested in the Roran storyline, and that like is a big part of Eldest, so we'll see how that goes. If not, I'll probably just continue reading Eldest because I don't even know where I am in the book. It's definitely less than 50%. That's gonna be a sprint for me. The 2nd prompt is a book with a dragon on the cover, and because I don't completely hate myself, even though I've picked so many huge books for this TBR, I'm doubling up. So I am reading The Priory of the Orange Tree again by Samantha Shannon. I haven't really been giving synopses for a lot of these. I'm very frazzled. I've been trying to get some videos pre-filmed before I leave. But this one's been really hyped on BookTube, and it's a feminist high fantasy with dragons. That's all I really know about it because I haven't read it yet. And I feel like a lot of people on BookTube have read it, so I feel like I can get by with a small little synopsis like that. But I'm very glad that it works for multiple prompts because 800 pages, that's like 2 books in and of itself, so. The next prompt is read a shiny book or a book with a shiny cover. I'm pretty sure this book is already shiny without the library foiling, but then it has the library foiling, so really covered my bases for that one, and that is Strange. Oh, yeah, it's very shiny. That is going to be Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I've been picking a lot of books that kind of complement my hair, so that's fun. I feel like I'm the last person on BookTube to read this book, so do we need a synopsis? I don't know. I'll give one anyway. This is about a guy named Laszlo Strange who, something about a lost city of Weep, and he goes to find it. I don't know. I have heard about this in so many booktuber videos that I've kind of picked up a synopsis, and the hype got to me on this one. I originally wasn't interested in it the first time I heard it, and then I kept hearing so many people Okay, now this is like way too shiny. I kept hearing so many people talk about this one and just how wonderful and lyrical it was. So this is apparently really gorgeously written, and I'll be looking forward to reading this one. We'll see. The hype really got to me on this one, so there's some high expectations. Ooh, Laini Taylor has pink hair. That's so cute. I love that. Okay. Yeah, so this is my first Laini Taylor book too, so we will see how I enjoy this one. The next prompt is read a thick paperback, and for that one I am reading House of Leaves by Mark Danielowski. Also, another theme of this TBR is books that I really wanted to read in June and then didn't get around to. This one I got to, I think, about page 50, and I had to put it down. I really enjoyed it, but as I mentioned before, it's been a rough month for me. And this book just is very triggering for not even necessarily, I didn't even get into any of it. I didn't really get into any of the plot or anything like that, and it is a horror book about a house that has a different layout than what it originally has. Like, it's a lot bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. And there wasn't anything that was necessarily so like triggering in terms of content, but just the way this is written is so claustrophobic and so, yeah, just claustrophobic. And for whatever reason, I knew I would love this, but I knew if I pushed through it in June, I wouldn't like it at all. So I'm going to be reading it in July as a thick paper book. Hopefully it'll go a lot better for me, because I've been hyping this one up myself in my mind, because this is kind of like a modern horror classic and I'm really excited to read it. It's an epistolary format, so it's got like a bunch of fun formatting things, which will be a lot more fun to read when I am not on an anxiety trip. So yeah. The next prompt is read a book that has yellowed over time, and for that one I am going to be reading Stephen King, Bag of Bones. I got this one secondhand at a thrift store for like $1, and it is very yellowed. Even though this one isn't that old in terms of Stephen King books. 1998. So it's not that old. I'm sure whoever had this before me kind of left it out in the sun. It's in great condition, but it is very yellowed. Especially like the front cover. I mean, it looks very white right here, but if you hold it up to other books with white covers, it's very yellow. The pages are yellow. I've watched the mini-series. Maybe this isn't a mini-series. I feel like when reading the synopsis about this one, I feel like it's a movie or miniseries that I've seen before. But this one is about a novelist, and his wife suddenly dies, so he goes to a cabin to try and get over her death and write some more, and there are ghosts. It has a pretty fun cover, looked intriguing, definitely fit the yellowed prompt. It has a really great author photo. I just love all of Stephen King's glamour shots. They're the best. Like, look at that man. And the last prompt, which is the prompt for one of the weapons. Don't know which one. Again, this is probably the worst TBR ever. I'm just all over the place. But for that one, is a book with assassins. And for that one, I'm reading The Book of Dust. Ah, matches my hair again. Love that for me. Yeah, so this is volume 1 of La Belle Sauvage. And this is the second series in the His Dark Materials multiverse. Yeah. We'll go with that one, because it does deal with different universes. His Dark Materials being The Golden Compass. That was a movie. It's gonna be made into a TV show. I have not read this yet, and I have really been needing to. I did go ahead in June. It's been a very weird month for me in terms of reading. I've mostly listened to audiobooks, which is very unlike me. I normally tend to read like one audiobook a month. And I have listened to the entirety of the Golden Compass trilogy on audiobook. They're amazing. They're full cast. The author narrates. They're really wonderful. And I've been loving those. So I read all 3 of those. I'm going to be reading this one. I think it has assassins in it. I mean, just based on the plot, it looks like it does, so hopefully it does. I'm crossing my fingers, otherwise I'll have to find another one. But I really want to get to this book this month, so that is why I kind of tried to sandwich it in to one of these prompts. So this one takes place before the events of the Golden Compass, and it follows a man named Malcolm and he actually becomes a spy, and he is protecting baby Lyra, who Lyra is the protagonist in the His Dark Materials series. The next book in this trilogy comes out in October, and I really want to make sure that I get it and read it in a more timely manner. This one I had been holding off on because I was going to pick it up, and then I realized it had been such a long time since I read His Dark Materials. I really wanted to make sure, especially as this was a prequel, to read that one before getting into this one again. So that is going to be the last book that I am reading in the month of July. So that's going to be the end of this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. If you're participating in either of these readathons, let me know. And yeah, subscribe if you want more content from me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!